Basically, Illustrator is an artist. Okay, he could be a comic book artist, or he could be a magazine artist. When we talk comic book, we have the comic book is made up of two parts. Right, you have a writer and you have an illustrator. So basically, it starts with a story, and you have a story which develops into a script. Now, once the writer is done with a script, it comes to us. So this is a script basically which gives an idea of what the story is, how the dialogues are going to appear, what the scene is. So what the writer has done here basically is put up all the imagination, whatever she has in her mind, and put it down for us in text. Now for us it's a challenge as an illustrator to translate that particular script into visuals like these. In school we used to be scolded by teachers or saying, hey, you're reading comics, stop that, put that aside. And now you're reading comics the whole day. Rather you're working with comics. So the phase has that's I guess the best thing, and there's another thing about comics is you're still connected to your childhood. You're still doing the things that you really wanted to do. See, like I said earlier, first when you're in school, you need to do your elementary and intermediate exams. These are these two exams which you need to give when you're in your secondary school. Once you're out of school, then you can apply to colleges. There are these entrance exams for JJ and Reheja. So once you've given your entrance exams, then you get an admission to these art schools, which would nurture you in the art of illustrations. In a comic book, we are always on a lookout for fresh art. So we usually tap talent from colleges. So you have art colleges like JJ, you have Reheja. So usually we look out for kids who come out from there. But there's others also, who are talented but may have not have gone to an art school as such. So we actually look for talented artists, illustrators. Once they get into a company, suppose if it's Tinkle, then they would be in here as a junior illustrator to start off with. We would start them off not on comics directly. We would give them single panels, single illustrations to be done, or we give them small artworks to be done. Being a junior illustrator who would start off with say 15 grand, he would go up to being a senior illustrator who would get around 30. And then that's how you progress. That's how even I started off. You start doing the simple illustrations, then you move on to bigger illustrations. You move on to a one-page comic. Then you go on to, if your work is really good, then you go on to 2, 3, 4 pages of comics. The progress is a very individual thing. If you're a good illustrator, I guess you can move up the ranks very easily. If your work is really good, then you will be promoted on to design head. Suppose if you're a freelancer, then there's no end to it. You could charge, for example, suppose this page, if we pay a good artist 1,500, if he's really good and if we really like his work that good, and if we want to continue with him, we would give him something around say 3,000 rupees also. Children definitely read a lot. You have Chacha Chaudhary, you have Diamond Comics, and then you have Tinkle, you have there's Campfire, then there's I think it's from Delhi. So there is a lot of demand for comics today. So if you want, you can pursue your career in comics. Our most popular character, that's Supandi, we are going to make that into animation. So we are exploring all the avenues. We started off with comics, we are getting into animation. Animation companies are getting into comics. So you are actually spreading out the entire thing. You're giving a child more. It's your talents which are going to take you places. You have to be persistent in your art. Your style has to be distinctive. The way you represent, or rather you do your drawings, they have to be very, very interesting for a child to look at and enjoy. So if you want to be a good illustrator, I guess you need to constantly practice